All right, and we're live. Thank you everyone for joining us, and thanks to everyone who's watching this back as a recording.
Yes, thank you. So tonight we're joined by Bradley Williams. He is a crusader for justice and a friend of Jeremy Alex, who disappeared April 24th, 2004. Good evening, Brad. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks.
So, and it's funny because we were just talking about this, but tell me, how did you first meet Jeremy?
Well, it was a family of friends. A bunch of kids that lived in the Waldo County, Belfast area. There's a bunch of hippies, and Jeremy is one of the ringleaders. And he was at all the parties and all that. I was quite a bit younger then, and he was just a beautiful kid. And I used to give him free guitar lessons, and he was left-handed. So we'd sit in front of the full-length mirror in the bathroom, and I'd give him left-handed guitar lessons in the mirror. That's how
cool.
That's how I got to know Jeremy Alex. And there's Jeremy.
Yeah, he looked like quite the character, Jeremy.
Yeah, he's one of the finer human beings I've ever known. He's just one of the sweetest guys you've ever met. It's just a shame what they did to him.
So let's let's go a little bit into that, sort of what we sort of know about what happened, sort of leading up to him disappearing.
Well, I was there the following Monday morning for the official search party. And I got there and there weren't any cops, no officials, no park rangers, no dogs, no helicopters, nothing.
But that was the official search party?
Yeah, at the official search party. And so a lot of people don't know about me. I was a founding member of a support group called Parents of Murdered Children. I lost my twin brother years ago. And
Oh, wow, I'm sorry to hear that.
So I'd been active with that. I'd been inactive with that for years. When Jeremy came along, a lot of people don't know why I'm so passionate about Jeremy's disappearance. Well, that's why. I lost 4 family members to handgun violence, and so I'd love to see a little justice for Jeremy Alex.
Absolutely.
But at any rate,
search party.
So
the search party.
Yeah. So before the search party happened, what do we know happened up to the point where Jeremy disappeared?
Well, let's see. There's Saturday, and let's see. I'm getting bad with the numbers. Saturday was the day he disappeared, and the phone calls were made to the police. The police were dispatched to Mr. and Mrs. Jim Monkell's house out on the Pound Hill Road, and this all happened on Saturday, and that's the 24th. And I believe I noticed a mistake. The little poster that you made, that you sent me, that you texted me.
Yeah, so
that
I
had
had got that.
That had a wrong date on it, I do believe.
And I got that off from state police posting about the case.
And I went, now how could they get the wrong address? And there's some misinformation going on. Yeah.
And I did fix it in here, like when I introduced you, and down underneath here, I did change this 24th. But
yeah, it was the 24th, and then the 26th was the day that I got involved, and I was really pissed off when I saw that nobody was helping look for Jeremy at this point. They had all of his friends were the only ones there. It was 7:30, 8 o'clock on a Monday morning, and only Jeremy's friends were there. There were a bunch of hungover hippies walking around the woods yelling, "Jeremy, Jeremy." And in his van was his billfold full of money and his car keys and all kinds of stuff. And I'm going, is this like a principal crime scene? What's going on here?
Right.
And so I got in my truck and I drove down to the sheriff's office. I walked in there. I was pissed. And I used to recite the names of all the cops that were there: Merle Reed, Mike McFadden, John Ford. Let's see, I'd have to give a little thought to get all their names, but there was a big crowd of cops sitting there. And one of the reasons I was there is because I actually had credibility back then, because they all knew I was parents to murdered children. Somebody, were tragically bereaved in Belfast. The cops would have thought of me, maybe Brad can help them out. That I was there because I had a certain amount of credibility, because I was a founding member of Parents of Murdered Children, was why I was even allowed in the room that morning. And that morning I went and said, you guys are going to look really, really bad if Jeremy Alex winds up either dead or worse. And I said, you got about 30 hippies going over what's probably your primary crime scene right now. And that's when they sent Merle Reed and Mike McFadden out there. And that's when I knew Merle Reed. Merle Reed's my cousin, and he's my own cousin. And I knew him well enough to know he was up to something. So I followed him that morning. I followed him over to Jeremy's house, and I saw him with Jeremy's billfold in his hands. And that billfold was taken out of Jeremy's van. So I know for a fact that the cops took Jeremy's billfold out of his van on Monday morning, took the money out of it, and planted the billfold on the shore at Saturday Cove. And I'm an eyewitness to that, and I've been swearing to that for years and years.
And I think that was actually on a news report too at one point, where the news report is showing the van and the police department talking around it, and they're sitting there holding his wallet.
Right.
On that news report.
And
so where approximately on, I don't know if you can see the map very well here. So we're looking close to where the Upper Bluff Road meets Pound Hill Road.
Right.
Roughly where on here was that his van was?
Well, keep backing up towards Route 1.
Back up this way?
Yeah. And right where your arrow is, right there, is about
right here?
Back on the other side of the street. Right in there, if I'm not mistaken, is about where his van was. And
okay.
There's this giant cell tower there now. It's like the crime scene disappeared, and the biggest cell tower in Waldo County popped up in its place.
Well, I'm wondering if maybe would this have been it here? Because it looks like there's a clearing here. Looks like there was a wood clearing happening down there, or was it?
Oh, okay, that would probably have to be it then. I'm visually impaired.
No, I understand that. That's fine. Yeah. Okay, so maybe around here, because it does look like there was a bit cleared out here, and they're in the process during this photo of clearing a bunch of land out here.
That looks more like the area where Jeremy's van was parked.
Okay.
And that same morning, I'm the one that called all 3 news stations, and Channel 7 was the one that showed up with Amy McHugh from Channel 7, and I do believe that they filmed Merle Reed and Mike McFadden getting the billfold out of Jeremy's van. So I believe there's enough evidence extant right now to throw Merle Reed and Mike McFadden in jail for the murder. Well, you got to have corpus delicti, right? You need a body. But they're up to their ears on it. And I'm not saying alleged. Well, I normally don't say allegedly. And because I'm inviting discovery from these people, but
right, it'd be a two-way street, right? You could then see what they know.
Yeah,
but right. So the Sunday Cove. Let me see. I just want to get that down. So that's way down here.
I'd have to put on my reading glasses to get in here and squint.
No, it's fine. Yeah, so that's closer to like the middle of Northport there. So that's. How far away are we from that?
A little bit of ways.
So from the cove.
Is that nicest pond there?
Yeah, we got about a mile distance as the crow flies from the cove to.
Right, but to me, what's more interesting is up there above the Pound Hill Road.
To the left,
where Mr. and Mrs. Jim Munkelt lived for years, and they're the ones that made the original call on Jeremy Alex. And the police were originally dispatched to the Munkelt's house. and the Monkells are still waiting for the police to show up. Police still haven't showed up, and
Wow.
and so it's like, and no one will even ask the cops, how come you guys didn't even show up at the Monkells' house? I mean, it's just obvious to me what happened. And
so, for the people that don't know what happened, can we go back to the day he went missing? What his state of mind was, where he was going, what he was doing?
Well, the day Jeremy went missing, I hadn't seen Jeremy in it'd been quite some time. As a matter of fact, we were a little bit estranged. All this I'm doing for Jeremy Alex. The last time I saw Jeremy, he was working for me, and he kicked over a can of paint in a customer's yard, and he flipped me both birds. So last time I saw Jeremy Alex, he was walking down the road away from me, flipping me both birds, and I had like a $400 mess to clean up. And, and I'm not putting him down. I mean, I love the guy dearly. But
so I got someone asking, what color was the paint? Do you remember?
That was bright titanium white. I do remember what color that was. I remember exactly where that was. All right. And the same guy that I was painting with, that saw that little episode, the person that dragged me into when Jeremy disappeared. Let's see. I think they both quit that day. And on Sunday evening, I call him my friend Ed Baird. He's really a nice guy in Belfast, and I haven't talked to Ed and since Jeremy disappeared. But Ed called on Sunday evening. He said, "Brad, this is real important." He says, "Jeremy Alex has disappeared, and has he been? Have you seen him? Has he been at your house? You know, it looks like there might be foul play in all this, and we're really, really worried about him." And that's how I heard about it. And so that's how I got roped into going to the search party the next morning. I agreed to go down there, I think, at 8 a.m. the next morning. Is when I got involved. So I'm not sure if I'm glad I did or not, but I think one of these days we're going to find out what happened. But
hopefully.
It's been a 20-year crusade for you, huh?
Yeah, because he's now he was how old at the time when he went missing? He was 23.
Yeah, he was young.
And he would be 47 now.
Yeah, something like that. I probably wouldn't even recognize him.
Crazy.
And
Laura, I do have a question on here. So Laura's a medium. She asked if you know if there's any significance to the color red.
What? She asked, what about the color red?
She asked if there's any significance in the color red.
Not that I'm aware of.
Or is there a body of water close to them? But
yeah, they're right on the ocean there.
Right on the ocean. There's a pond up there too.
On Saturday Cove. Just trying to think anything might be red down there. Not right off the top of my
maybe
head.
She said maybe it was his favorite color.
But thank you for your concern.
There is another comment here actually from Kara saying, "Thank you so much for doing this podcast, Bradley. I've been waiting so long for this. I believe you keep speaking your truth."
Well, thank you for listening. Not too many people know the story, and they don't get the truth here in Maine. It's the media up here is so bad. To me the reason Jeremy Alex is still lost is because the media hasn't lifted a finger. I've sent them all the evidence. I've sent them everything they need. It's the biggest story in the state, and they won't run with it. What can you do to make Reed Brower get off his ass and run the story? I'm swearing these things under penalty of perjury. They can throw my ass in prison if I'm lying. If I'm lying, I'm dying. And they won't do a story saying this guy's swearing under penalty of perjury that the cops were involved in the Jeremy Alex killing. It was, you know, it's the media's fault ultimately. To me, the big failure is the media.
Well, that
it's kind of hard to get answers if you're not asking for answers, right?
Right.
Like if you don't talk about something, then no one's going to know about it. So we're really thankful that you're here to help try and share as much information as you can about it.
Well, you're welcome. You see the pile of stuff I've mailed out over the years. There's mountains of stuff regarding Jeremy Alex and nothing. And another thing, I sent a mailing to all 70 judges in the state of Maine with evidence and saying, please, none of the district attorneys will help. The police are involved. I've got evidence. I'm swearing that I saw them do it. Just please. And not one judge answered, said, have you tried Pine Tree Legal? And so that's 70 judges. And not one of
Unreal.
70 judges in the state of Maine had the decency to answer this. And this was not a cheap letter. This thing had like CDs and affidavits and all kinds of. These were stuffed with evidence, admissible in a court of law. And
I'll send you my address. You can send me a copy of all that.
But I got quite a pile. If you're in the Belfast area, I'll let you look through everything I got.
Yeah.
So with Jeremy, what do we know happened earlier in the day with him? He was moving that day, wasn't he, with his girlfriend?
Well, I hear so many stories. I don't know which ones of them are true or not. And now I knew his girlfriend quite well. I knew them both pretty well. And as far as I knew, they weren't moving. And I was actually there on Monday was the day I saw the cops with the billfold. And the cops had torn the place apart. It was in complete disarray, but it didn't look like Suzanne was moving out her pressure cooker. It looked like the cops were vandalizing the place. It didn't look like she was moving out.
Do we know what the cops were looking for?
Well, they had it in their blue rubber gloved hands. They had Jeremy's billfold with all his cash. And there's one story that I keep hearing that I have a tendency to believe. I know for a fact Jeremy is growing magic mushrooms. And when I was his friend, I used to tell him, you should go easy on that stuff. Back then, I'd tell him, you got a good thing going here. You could pay the rent for the rest of your life if you keep this on the down low and do it smart. And he wanted to be Mr. Big. He wanted to escalate things and grow larger and larger amounts and he had aspirations of making lots of money growing drugs. And so that's downfall.
Do you know what is the laws on growing mushrooms and stuff? Is there any laws against psychedelic mushrooms?
Well, in Maine, I'm pretty sure there are. I think they just legalized it in Colorado, California, maybe.
Colorado's always could be first in that stuff, huh?
Yeah, but
So the night that he disappeared, so he was seen near that couple's property, and he had made some claims that some people were after him, right?
Oh, yeah. Well,
that some bad men were after him.
Let me go back to the story I started to tell about growing the magic mushrooms.
Yeah.
The story that I heard, and there's a certain amount of credibility to it, is that this was a big robbery, and that Jeremy's business had grown to the point where he was growing about $100,000 a month in magic mushrooms. And so, and there's somebody from New York State that was coming down once a month with $100,000 and buying the mushrooms off of Jeremy. So once a month there was a transaction which was $200,000, 100,000 cash and 100,000 in mushrooms. That's a big transaction.
Yeah.
And my theory is somebody had their eyes on Jeremy, and I believe that's where the police came in. I think they knew that the shipment was coming in, the money was coming in. I think the whole thing was a police setup from start to finish. Is my take on it.
So then, what would have caused Jeremy to behave the way he did? You think that somebody got to him and
at the Monkelts, at the Monkelts house. Now I knew the Monkelts quite well. He's in the roofing business. I was in the chimney business, and we were good friends, Jim Monkelt and I. And let's see, lost my train of thought. But
Jeremy was acting.
Jeremy came out of the woods into the Monkelts' yard, but he knew the Monkelts. They were Mrs. Monkelt was his high school teacher, and he had done some work for Jim Monkelt, so he knew these people, and he had a very large amount of cash on him, which would kind of corroborate my little theory on the big robbery thing. And he said really bad people were after him, and Monkelt said, "Well, we'll help you. Come on in, we'll help you." But and Jeremy took off running. That's the last time anyone saw him. And then those of us that were out looking for him, the police gave us the wrong directions. They told us the wrong side of Route 1. They said that he was spotted on the other side of Route 1.
Go over there and waste your time over there.
Yeah, they really did. And there's so they sent 30, 40 people to the wrong woods searching for Jeremy one day. So the whole thing was pretty screwed up.
Yeah, Patricia's asking you, was this in Maine? It's in Northport, Maine. I was going to say something else.
Yes.
She was just asking where it was. Yeah, we told Northport, Maine,
Northport.
2004.
Yeah.
So what are some of the stories you've heard? I know that, I've watched the video you have on YouTube where you interviewed DJ's father. I'm trying to think what his name is now. Linscott?
It'll come to me in a second.
David Linscott, right?
Yeah. Let's come back to him. She and I heard one. It's from a well-meaning local person. Told us he knew where Jeremy's body was. It was in the bottom of a well on an island. And so now I'd been to that little island before, and I've gone, I don't think there's a well on that island. But I figured it's a good excuse to take a canoe ride anyway. So we went and rented a canoe and took a little canoe ride, went to see if we could find Jeremy. Of course, there was no well on the island or anything, but
have you heard any stories about him being placed in a barrel at all?
I haven't heard the barrel story.
So that same lady who mentioned was thanking you for talking about this. She said, you're welcome. The girl who lived downstairs for me refused to talk to anyone, basically locked herself inside after Jeremy disappeared. So I'm assuming that, Kara, did you live in Northport at that time? And she also says, I always believed that she knew something more happened to him and was fearful herself, maybe that she had information. I'm not sure.
Well,
that's very interesting.
I got an email from my blog spot. I don't get many replies, but I got one, and this guy said, "You've got the whole story right, all except for one thing." He said, "I was there." He said it was a 4x4 post. It wasn't a 2x4. It was a 4x4 post, and I got this elaborate letter, and the thing's electronically signed. Like, the police should be investigating this thing. This guy, writes me a letter saying he was there. He's got firsthand knowledge of Jeremy Alex murder.
Yeah.
And there's nobody that I can take this to. um, if I give it to the cops, they'll lose it. It's like, but and there's just that's just one example of many. Um, I've gotten just over the years just dozens of anonymous tips. And they should have the cold case guys all down here. If they were serious, they could solve this day.
Why aren't they? Amy says there's a person who has openly told people when he's under the influence that he was a part of it. So I think that's happened a few times. So, what did I just do? Sorry. Go ahead, Jeff. I just hit something.
Oh no, I didn't have anything. Well, I guess So, what do you think? So he came out of there, and he was a bit erratic, right, out of the woods at their house, and said he claimed that like bad men were after him, right? What do you think about that? Who do you think
I think he's obviously tweaked. I think he was probably eating a little too much of his own product. But here's what I think happened. I think that the police were dispatched. The sheriffs were dispatched. I believe my own cousin, Merle Reed, was dispatched to the Monkel's house. I don't think he made it to the Monkel's house. I think somewhere along the way to the Monkel's house, Deputy Merle Reed, while he was on duty, this is my theory, it's just, from years of people, telling me all this stuff and trying to figure it out and doing my own detective work.
Yeah.
Sounds to me like Merle Reed and his buddies caught up with Jeremy on the side of the road, killed him and took his money. And that's what it sounds like to me. And if that's not true, then why the hell did Merle Reed not show up at Jim Monkel's house and explain to him what was going on?
Right. And with having the wallet the next day, seeing that he had the wallet, and then it being found like a mile away from the last place he was spotted, not in the van.
Was the wallet found, or was it just his money and his ID?
The wallet was found with some.
The wallet was found too.
With some cash in it, with some waterlogged cash. And so, let's see. I had a point I was just going to make. I lost my thread again.
Sorry, I probably sidetracked.
There's so much to it, but well, the police officer that found the billfold located on the shore, that sat on somebody's coffee table for 2 or 3 years before an off-duty police officer
happened to see it.
Noticed Jeremy's driver's license in the thing. Now, Jeremy's poster had been on the telephone pole in front of that house for 3 years.
Yeah, why? Yeah. They had to have heard his name before.
Yeah, it's like that doesn't make any sense at all. And then there's the other one. What was it? Just never made any sense at all to me. Hopefully it'll come back to me before the show's over. But
now, have you spoken to Jeremy's father? Were you friends with his dad?
Jeremy's dad seemed to have lost interest, and he seemed, I think he lost his will to fight. He just, we all react to things like this differently, and he didn't have much fight left in him. I think he's, just pretty much drained and demoralized and all that. And there's a time there where I felt abandoned by him, because I was, there's a long time where I was the only one doing anything, and he had resources that he wasn't using properly. I thought, like he could have gotten a lawyer. He could have compelled a lawsuit to investigate my charges. He could have taken my affidavit, and all that money he'd raised when Jeremy disappeared, and taken care of business, and he chose not to. And so he and I Haven't spoken in years.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of different videos of yours where you go and try to speak to different community leaders, and they all just kind of try to ignore you, right? They don't give you the time of day, or they ask you to get off the property, and like
Oh yeah, they don't want to hear about Jeremy Alex, that's for sure. But,
Yeah, there seems to be by far more of your stuff to find information online about this than just searching the web. Like there's not the news articles is all like the same regurgitated stuff. It's all like copy and pasted information, and it's very short. Like there's no details about this anywhere.
Well, and then there's a part of the story where the police absolutely got roasted for the corruption and their ineptitude. They just blew it so badly. The state police came in and said it's the worst handled investigation they'd ever seen. They took it over and everyone thought, hallelujah, now we're going to get to the bottom of it. And they pretty much just closed the file on it at that point. And
hallelujah.
I don't know if you saw that video of mine about the clandestine cop graveyard in Northport. Have you seen that one?
Yes.
And that's where the state trooper wouldn't identify himself. And that guy's like the lead detective of this Jeremy Alex killing. And he wouldn't even identify himself to me. When I'm in the courthouse saying, you told me you're involved in this, now tell me your name. Where's your business card? Had it all on tape. I still got it all on tape. And that's the other reason that Jeremy hasn't been found is the cops are up to here. They're all in on it together. And
so
all you have to do is watch that one video.
What connection?
Cop is in on it. He's in on it.
So what connection does this case have to the band Fish?
Well, there's the band Fish thing happened in 2006. I became friends with the drummer for Fish, John Fishman.
John Fishman, yeah.
And we became, for about a year, we became very close friends. And he started a band called Touch Pants, which I consider child porn. And so I told him that's child porn. I got pissed off about it. And he has sued me for libel, for calling him a pedophile, because I say Touch Pants is child porn, and it is. It depicts prepubescent children in rape murder situations, like in windowless vans. Check out the band Touch Pants, and then let's do a show on that. My heart's pounding now. But it's the band Touch Pants is what connected the Jeremy Alex killing to the band Fish. It's the Touch Pants connection.
And it's basically saying that cops know what's going on and they're covering that up as well. That
right.
They're taking care of them.
And so because it's an ongoing legal thing on that the libel thing, I can't say a whole lot about it. But it
I wish I'd known that. I would have brought it up.
Well, go ahead and check out Touch Pants, and then let's talk. You should do a show on Touch Pants. You want to do a show that'll get everybody's attention. Nobody knows about Touch Pants yet. They've done everything in their power to keep anyone from finding out about Touch Pants. Touch Pants. It's a new genre of child pornography invented by John Fishman, and it's his side project called Touch Pants. And it's 48 songs about molesting children, and it's a new genre of child pornography, and it's still being adjudicated, and so I'm not supposed to be talking about that until it's all over and done with, but you should do a story on Touch Pants.
Kara says she was cousins with my roommate. Who's she talking about? Oh, probably the girl downstairs. I don't know. Jake McClure was one of the roommates. He was shot by police in Jefferson a few years back. I think Jeremy was part of his circle.
What was the guy's name?
Jake McClure.
Jake McClure. What town did he live in?
It says he was shot in Jefferson, so I'm thinking maybe Jefferson.
Seems like we ran across that name once before. It was, I'll have to discuss it with my wife.
Who was there was a Tucker too, right? Involved with DJ's murder, David Scott Jr.'s murder.
Yeah, was it Raymond? I think there was a Raymond, if I remember correctly. But the DJ Lynn Scott Jr., his dad's the one that came up with the maps and the crazy story with the crazy dates. You've seen that video.
Yeah, he's saying July 4th, 1986, and it's obviously April
Right.
24th. I can't say I think I screwed up the date too, so I should.
Yeah, and his cognitive abilities are declining, so he won't be a witness, a very credible witness, very much longer, unfortunately for David Lynn Scott. He's actually a nice guy. And it's tragic what happened to his son. It's the same cast of characters, same cops, same everything. The cops investigated, and they called it justifiable homicide, and the guy walked, and it's just that's one of those. At some point, I have to say I've heard enough. There are more stories like that around here. That's just if you listen to all of them, you go crazy. I lined a chimney. I lined 2 chimneys for a couple. What was it, Erratic or Hill or something it was called? And they were peripherally related to the Jeremy Alex case, and they were both murdered in their house. That was about 6 or 7 years ago. And as soon as it became obvious to me that it wasn't directly related to the Jeremy Alex thing, I just had to say, I don't want to hear about it.
Nancy Barlow said, it's been said that Lynn Scott's son, so DJ, got killed because he had the map.
Because he had the drugs?
The map as to where Jeremy was, maybe?
Oh, well, actually, it was DJ Lynn Scott, the old man senior, is the one who gave me the maps. Now, those maps, there's more of those maps than just meet CI. DJ Lynn Scott Sr. did not draw those maps. The guy who drew the maps signed those maps. And they're also signed by a female woman whose last name happens to be Philbrook.
Oh, Cameron Philbrook.
A member of his family, a female member of his family, signed these maps. So these original maps have two signatures on them. One is a Philbrook, and the other is the guy who was originally shown the bodies by the prime suspect. And as soon as he got back to his car, he grabbed a pen and drew a map. And the story he told me, he said, I can't believe the guy took me in the woods and showed me where all the bodies were. He said, I don't know why he showed them to me. He said, as soon as I could, he said, I sat down, I drew the 2 maps, and that's where they came from.
That sounds so weird to me that he draws a map, signs his name, the girl signs a name. Like, that sounds like a conspiracy theory type thing you'd see on a movie or something.
Yeah.
So they drew the maps, but didn't do anything with them, or?
Well,
yeah.
No.
Like an insurance policy?
That he gave them to the state police, but then he gives me what appears to be the originals, and so I assume he didn't give anything to the state police. I don't know. it's it's a guessing game.
Or if he did, they probably lost him or something, misplaced
Yeah,
them.
but remember his son had just been killed, and he just been through all of that. So
Yeah.
it's quite a story. Um, I wish Ann Rule or one of the better true crime writers to come in and do a number on this one. It'd be a hell of a read.
Have you I know Disappeared covered the story a few years ago. Have you reached out to like anyone else, like Dateline or any of those guys, to see if they'd come in and cover his case?
Uh-oh. Nope. Got it back.
We had an incoming call.
There we go. Oh.
Sorry about that. So where were we?
We can hold. Go ahead.
We're fine. So,
All right.
so let's see, where were we?
Oh, I had asked. I know Disappeared they cover the case on their show. Did Dateline? Have you reached out to Dateline or anyone like that to see if they'd come in?
No, I think I've emailed a few of them, but never gotten any replies from them, and which always surprised me. When there's so much to it, it's such a great story. I mean, just from a journalist point of view, I can't believe some young journalist hasn't made this their pet project and just poured their heart and soul into it, because there's so much to it, and there's a prize at the end. You can actually prove who did it. There's enough evidence there that if it were actually published in a book, it would probably lead to a conviction. That's
We could write a fictional story and just change the names by like one letter or something.
I just where's all the prosecutors? I went in the prosecutor's office. The clandestine cop graveyard video that you've seen, I'm in there saying the guy's like a child pornographer, right? And the cops are like murderers, and you guys are railroading me. And
yeah, you're the problem.
Right, I was the problem. But
Nancy Barlow says map takes you up Beach Hill Road, past where Cameron used to live, and around the corner to the big road in Northport.
That's correct. Yeah.
So, all right. So that's exactly where the map brings you.
There's two maps, and they're beautifully drawn. And they're the other map is just like a road map to the house, to the Beach Hill Road. And I was just really impressed with how well the guy could draw a map. That in itself, dealing with really a pretty intelligent witness. He was drawing. There were contour lines.
Really?
Don't draw contour lines on a map.
Yeah, to show different heights and land, right?
Yeah, he wanted to show the contours so people could go back later and find the bodies. Only problem is nobody wanted to go back, follow the contour lines and find the bodies. But I'm still thinking that there's probably still evidence out there.
There probably is. Got another comment here. It says, everyone is scared of Cameron, knows the Belfast police is crooked ASF. State police is connected to by having family connected. I live in Belfast.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all in on it together, every last one of them.
One of the names involved with Jeremy's case also has been mentioned in the case of Charlie Resch. Are you familiar with that case?
Yes. What was his name?
His name was Charlie Resch.
Yes, I know who that was. I believe Charlie Resch was involved with a young lobster pound family.
Madison, we covered his case with his niece Madison. She just commented, she said Dateline never responded when I put in both Jeremy's and Charlie's names, so they didn't call her back.
Right, but I believe that Yeah, there's there are some things that can be done, and there's it's a notary process. It's like no one will listen to my affidavits. I can swear till I'm blue in the face. I saw the cops doing these with Jeremy's billfold and all that, but no one will do anything. But there are processes where you can force things like that, to where like you serve them with the affidavit, and then if when they haven't responded within 7 days or whatever the statute is, now the notary contacts them and says, "Hey, look, this person needs to have an answer to this. Are you going to respond to his affidavit, yes or no?" And if they don't respond to every point of that affidavit, they're guilty. And so there are other processes to get these, to get the crooked officials, and it's
So,
and
uh,
that's what people are going to have to do in Maine to take care of some of these bad cases that won't go away.
so someone messaged me a picture of the map, saying it's the map, but I don't. It's not really describing what you had said. Hold on a second. I'll share it on the screen here. All right. So can you guys see that?
Yeah, barely.
Probably. Yeah, it's hard to see. I'm sure.
Yeah, that looks like it's probably. Yep, that's one of them. Yeah, with my bad eyes, it's really hard to tell. I'm just looking at a little.
It says Bayside Store, Route 1, Blue Goose.
Right. That's the first map that I mentioned that showed, you just drew a really nice map to Beach Hill Road, to the Flanders Road where the bodies were. And then the other map was the one that with the contour lines, and there's little X's. And each X indicates a body.
So this, I've got it up here.
That map
Beach
indicates
Flanders.
as many as, what was it, 7 or 8 bodies are indicated on that map.
So Travis, if you're looking at
Sorry to
that, I can bring this up. This is Will's map. So this is Beach Hill Road. This right here is Flanders.
Right.
Yeah, Flanders, and then behind Flanders, it's like a bog.
Bog Road.
Right. That's the Herrick Bog Road.
So it looks like here it splits from Flanders into Bog.
Right. That was all really wild back there till quite recent. And they paved the road through there and started putting in a bunch of houses back there. But that was just wild as it could be. But it was when you make the right turn onto the Flanders Road, the location of the bodies was the first and or second place on the left.
Wow.
We do have another comment here. Glass Heater said, Jeremy used to bring me home after school for about a month before his disappearance. I was managing Belfast soccer and swim teams then. Jeremy never did or mentioned drugs around me.
That doesn't surprise me. Most people that grow drugs don't advertise the fact that they're growing drugs at their house.
yeah, I guess, yeah. Probably don't necessarily need the evidence out there that you've admitted to it. Got another Hank moved to Belfast in 2020 near Pound Hill Road. The spiritualist group seems odd and out of place. Oh yeah, there's a spiritualist place and a Ouija company
and a Ouija board
over there.
Company.
There's an Ouija board company there.
Yeah.
Where'd it go?
I didn't know that. That's a weird place there. That spiritualist camp.
Ouija boards US and then Temple Heights Spiritual Camp.
I'd love to connect that to Jeremy's killing, but alas, you can't make the story that good. But that spiritualist camp is one of the strangest places I've ever heard of in my life. I used to go there when I was a kid. One time my mom said I slept with the lights on for a week after I went to one of their seances.
Sounds about right.
But
Hank also said he's heard rumors that Knight's Pond had at least one murder. Another rumor I heard was a pit somewhere. Do you have any ideas where that might be?
the pit, well,
Yeah.
the Knight's Pond is where we took the canoe. I told you, yeah, we rented the canoe.
Oh,
And-
okay.
And we were looking for a pit on the island. Well, it was a well, and to me in Maine, a pit would indicate a gravel pit, but I think at this point, what's probably going to happen is there are probably so many eyewitnesses and people that know what really happened. Sooner or later, somebody's going to come forward and just say, screw everybody else. I know what happened. You know, I'm trading immunity and ratting everybody else out, and that'll be that.
We can only hope.
That'd suit me just fine. At least there'd be a little closure for everybody.
Yeah.
So,
well, moving all over the place.
we're trying to make sure the phone wasn't going to fall over again.
Yeah.
So,
well,
how much time do we have left here?
Probably like 7-8 more minutes. But is there anything you want to make sure you talk about before we go?
Well, can you think of anything right off the bat? No. Well, I'd certainly encourage anybody that knows anything to get a hold of me. And I'm the chimney sweep in Belfast, so I'm easy enough to find. And
so what? The chimney sweep? That's what you're.
well, let's just put up my
Or do
phone.
you want your email? I can post your email if you want us to do that.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's post mainechimney@yahoo.com.
Oh, that's actually pretty easy.
Maine with an E.
Maine with an E.
Yeah.
mainechimney@yahoo.com. And
Maine like the state, not the street.
right. And
So mainechimney@yahoo.com.
yeah, and I seem to be pretty much the go-to guy, you know, with people that they can't go anywhere else. Yeah, the criminals, everybody else, they talk to me. They can't talk to the police. When Jeremy disappeared, that's one thing that really griped my ass when he disappeared, was that whole family of friends. One by one, they got picked up by those dirty cops, and one by one, they all went off to jail for this, that, and the other petty little crimes, and they all just started having the worst luck ever. And it's like gang stalking. I don't know if that's the correct term for it, but it was not pleasant for the hippies that were trying to find Jeremy right after he disappeared.
I do want to ask you one more thing. I had read or I'd heard on one of your videos something about someone had shot at your house.
Yes,
and
they have.
And you can only assume it's based off your connection to this case, I would think.
Well, yeah, I can't think any other reason anyone would want to shoot my house, and the police would not investigate. And if the cops would have showed up in force and taken the piece of siding off of the house and hauled it off and checked it out, against other guns used in crimes and all that.
Ballistics, yeah.
Yeah, but it's still in my house. It's still out there in the siding. So
Yes.
yeah, there's no police services here. Not for me anyway.
Right. Yeah, I was about to say that, not for you.
But at any rate, but we're we got faith. We're all right. We're in good shape.
It's good.
Well, we'll make sure that, like, hopefully, anyone listening, please, share this out so more people hear about it. There really needs to be like some investigations done into this, at least a little bit, because it doesn't even look like anyone has done anything. Again, it's anything you see online, it's just regurgitated stuff. Every now and then you might see a little bit of a post that has some more details, but
Oh, Amanda did join us, so she's the one that covered the case with us the first time. So
Hi, Amanda.
hello, Amanda.
she said, just jumping in from work, but wanted to say thank you, Brad, for not being afraid to share what you know.
Well, thank you as well, Amanda. It's nice for you to show up. I was wondering about you. And anytime anybody wants to talk about Jeremy, give me a call. Like I said, check out Touch Pants, and then maybe we'll do a show on that.
You're gonna have a rating on it, probably, huh?
Well, it's very newsworthy. It's incredibly newsworthy. But at any rate, you might want to look into it. It's worth doing a story on. But at any rate, are we set?
Yeah, so if you want to reach out to Brad, you can reach him at mainchimney@yahoo.com. It's posted there on the screen.
Yeah,
I just want to show Jeremy's picture again.
Yes.
So if you have any information in regards to Jeremy Ted Alex, disappeared April 24th, 2004 from Rockport, Maine, you can call the Maine State Police at 207-624-7143 or the Waldo County Sheriff's Office at 207-338-6786.
And we'd like to thank you very much, Brad, for joining us tonight. And
You're very welcome. Thank you.
much appreciated. No, absolutely, anytime. And anything that you want us to share out, absolutely let us know, and we'll definitely do that.
And keep up the good fight.
Thank you very, very much.
Yeah, and hopefully you recover very soon. And thank you everyone that's been viewing and commenting. We greatly appreciate you. We can't get these stories out without you guys tuning in and sharing it for us. So it's greatly appreciated.
And if you know anything, let me know. So.
Absolutely, guys. All right.
Well, I know it might feel like you're alone sometimes, Brad, but there's a lot of people that want to see closure in this case, and I'm sure that if you reach out or reach out to us, so we can try to help get you some help to help solve this case. Help.
Help.
So the word help like 12 times. But yeah, thank you, Brad.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. We greatly appreciate it. Everyone have a good night.
Yes, thank you.
Good night.